And they're off. Alright, so this run starts the same way as all runs start, with Link waking up. That's it, go home everybody. Link has awakened. No, I'm kidding. This is, as the category implies, this is 100% no wrong warp, no out of bounds, so they have to go through wherever, they have to go to wherever a door is supposed to take them, and they can't go out of bounds. That is the... Out of bounds is something that takes about 15 weeks of classes to discuss. Suffice it to say, they're not going to be doing anything weird with going into walls or walking on the ceiling. Alright, both of them heading down to pick up the sword here. Going to be damage... Ooh, Bamboo doing the damage boost off the spiky boy. GreenTunic not doing it, but he's still going to be grabbing the sword here before the owl flies off. That's the important thing. Overlapping some text boxes with animations, saving a little bit of time. And they're going to immediately head into some sort of crime by duplicating money. Because since the game lets you pick up rupees with your shield and your sword, if the rupee lands on Link and his shield at the same time, you pick it up twice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Just doing that in real life?
Yeah, just throwing money around and weaponry and duplicating your money.
Oh, heck yeah. Alright. GT with 8 rupees in slightly better shape here. He needs to get 2 more from mowing the lawn. Ooh,
wow.
Bamboo! Look at, he's just gonna leave money on the ground. What a madman.
2 extras. Wow, that is a great start for Bamboo.
And thankfully GT getting some rupees there so he doesn't lose too much time, but Bamboo pulling the early lead while both of them go shopping in very large ironic quotation marks.
Well, there you go. That's a solid start for both of them.
Absolutely it is.
1 hurdle passed.
And this is not actually why they need the 10 rupees, as it turns out, with the save and quit menu, you get the bombs, but you don't actually have to pay for them because your rupee count doesn't count down. We need them for the trendy game, because we need magic powder, we don't want to go through the nonsense of taking the mushroom into the witch's hut, so it's easier just to, basically play a UFO catcher for him. Dang, every time I talk about it, this game really does just have a lot of elements in common with the Yakuza series.
Of all the comparisons to make.
I mean, think about it, though. You commit crimes, you go play UFO catcher, later on you get to go on a date. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You know what, I think you're onto something.
Got my eye on you, Sega.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this one goes, because both these guys are relatively same skill level, and both these guys are relatively rusty, too, in the scheme of things. So, they're really on par, and both of them, like, the winner of this is going to go on to face Node Kaju next round, who is also, I think he's, you know, Node is a bit higher skill level than these runners, but they're still, all 3 of them are very close, so it's going to be interesting to see who he matches up against.
Yeah, but I will also add, though, you say they're rusty, and that may be true to a point, but all of them, GT and Bamboo have both been playing in the tournament and have made it this far, so...
Oh, of course. I mean, like, to this point, they're rusty. If either one of these guys wins and is to practice before Node, that'll be a very close race.
Yeah, absolutely. And, oh man, GT just showing off some bomb shenanigans there. Demonstrating one of the most important tricks in the game. If you drop 2 bombs within 4 frames, the game lets you, basically cause events to happen on the screen you're on, which in that case means you just, magically explode Terran back into a human from a raccoon.
And that's an example of a bomb trigger that doesn't save us a whole lot of time, because we already have the powder that would activate that cutscene. But it's just a minor time save. Ooh, GT going for the pit walk.
Ooh, what a... Oh, he only goes for it once, though.
Unfortunately, but he went for it. So that's roughly a 50-50 trick, give or take, to just walk across that pit.
Yeah. Ooh, Bamboo taking an extra damage boost off that spark to get to that chest quicker.
Yep. You know, there's a lot of neat damage boosts you can take in Dungeon 1, but I think they're for fools.
Yeah, the thing about Dungeon 1 is, you have... Moldorm does 1 heart of damage on contact, so you're always a little bit nervous about that, and unless you have the use the shield strat, you take 1 heart of damage boosting to the Rock's Feather, so health is actually pretty tight in Dungeon 1.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you wanting to play it safe, because it's surprisingly easy to not just get knocked into the pit, but also just get killed by Moldrum, or he just takes a quick turn and you land on him by accident.
Well, yeah, it's a combination of Moldrum doing an entire heart's worth of damage when everything at this point of the game only does half, and also him being the most likely boss to get hit by.
Oh gosh, GT, unfortunately, that guy gets, I don't remember what those guys are called, but it gets by him. It takes a little bit longer to flip them.
I think they're just called spike beetles, but yeah, just a slightly bad movement there, not flipping the second one.
That's alright, he's on his way now. Ooh,
trying to go for the shield
no!
bomb. So he was trying to do what Bamboo did there, but without taking damage. And the timing's a bit tighter, and unfortunately he got knocked into the pit.
Yeah,
lucky for him, he still had more than enough health to not die.
Yeah. But he's definitely gonna have to tread cautiously. Bamboo, meanwhile, showing off one of the other big important tricks of the run, the super jump. Whereas if Link pushes into a corner, he clips into the wall just a couple of pixels, and that's enough to make it so that when you jump toward the wall, then jump away while using an attack, the game says, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're one level higher up," and lets you jump down, even though you're not actually up. Which
I want to publicly shame Bamboo for grabbing the safety fairy on the mini boss there, even though he still had a whole heart's worth of damage to take from Moldrum.
I mean, I would shame him if this were a run attempt, but in a race where he knows who his opponent is, GreenTunic, I can't really shame him that much.
Okay, so we're split on this issue.
Well, that's half the fun. This isn't supposed to be some sort of commentary echo chamber. Oh no, we're here to basically just poke back and forth.
Oh, and we'll see for sure later that this is not going to be an echo chamber. There's some far more important things we disagree on.
Yes, this is definitely true. And GreenTunic getting also finishing there.
Pretty solid time for a race.
Yeah. That's actually closer to the times I get in my PB attempts, but hey, whatever. These are also much better runners than I am.
You'll get there.
That's a work in progress, yeah. So, other fun things about the version differences here. In this Japanese 1.0, we do it because text is faster, and it also lets you skip that really, really long child dialogue there that you might remember if you played the English version.
Well, and not just that one text box, but there's also a number of text boxes in the game that we can just outright skip by pressing B. Which doesn't matter for like the no swoop category, but a lot of them come up in Hundo, and there's quite a few of them that you might not even realize that we skip.
The wonders of version differences.
Yep.
In fact, super jumps are one of the reasons we play on 1.0, because they don't work in later versions.
Or they're nerfed in later versions anyway, like they're much harder to pull off.
Oh, both of them having a little bit of trouble in Log Cave there, breaking both of those, what are those, crystal bushes? That's what it looked like to me, at least.
But we see them going through that log cave quickly just to grab that 50 rupee chest. The 50 rupees, it's just kind of a convenience thing. We could get rupees elsewhere, but we have to come into this cave anyway to get that heart piece. And super jumping to it and saving and quitting is just the quickest way to get it.
Yep, and now Bamboo getting his picture taken at the portrait studio, GreenTunic on his way there. This is one of the other things that is added for 100%, having to get all 12 photos in the DX version. Thankfully, we already have the one from stealing for the shop, we have the other one here, and now that we've activated the photographer mode, so to speak, when we get to certain other spots, he'll show up and take our picture. There's a couple that can be missed permanently, though, so we'll be sure to mention those when we get to them. But first, our best friend has been kidnapped. We need to go rescue him right now. Bamboo in good shape to get the 2-cycle on King Moblin here. I hate this guy. His hitbox when he bounces off the wall is bigger than you think, and you're a little bit too close to him, he just kind of bounces off your sword despite it being like 10 feet away, and then you just get an extra cycle. And you die a little bit inside.
And he's one of those points in the run that is actually a pretty large RNG factor. You can lose upwards of a few seconds to him depending on his RNG, because he shoots anywhere between 2 to 4 arrows per cycle. And even those cycles among themselves, the arrow shots can take a variable amount of time to fire. So you can get like a really quick 2-arrow cycle or a really long 4-arrow cycle, and a lot of people don't realize when they enter Dungeon 2 they lost a bunch of time. it might be specifically that fight that did it.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you just don't think about it too much. The other randomness that pops up here is Bamboo didn't have to wait for Bow Wow to eat a flower for very long. You're just kind of at the mercy of Bow Wow's stomach. GreenTunic taking a little bit longer, but still thankfully not having to wait too long.
Yeah, unfortunately the game's not helping GT catch up here at all.
Nope. Yeah, Bamboo, famous for having generally really good luck in this game, so it seems to be carrying so far.
Although I have heard through the grapevine that Phantom Math has stolen Bamboo's lucky cart.
I mean, maybe. I don't know Phantom Math's whereabouts, but at the same time, I don't think he went to Germany, so it's hard to say.
He's a crafty man.
He is. I mean, you could also use other words, but I won't, because I like Matt. Alright, now it's time for ghost busting in the whatever century this is. Oh, yes. Bamboo going for the slightly older strat, actually tricking the ghosts into wrapping around to the left to chase him instead of right. Because once they go off screen, the game assumes they're dead.
Yeah, I guess he opts to do that just because going for the arrow strat can be a little finicky, because you have to make sure that they're both fairly close to the edge of the screen.
Yeah, and not to mention, it's very easy if you're holding right to do it to accidentally walk off screen after you shoot them. Oh my god, Bamboo getting trolled so by that Stalfos, though. You have to be super careful there with the pot, because if he's right above you when you throw the pot, you might accidentally kill the Stalfos, and if you kill the enemies out of order in that room, you have to go down the stairs, and that just wastes so much time.
And it looks like Bamboo's just going, once again, for the old school strats here. We did find out that it actually saves half a second to, instead of lifting the pot there, actually to lift a bomb there instead to lower that platform. You know, not a big time save, but, you know, Bamboo's sticking to what he knows.
A half second, though, that seems like such a surprisingly large time save for something so minor.
I know, right? Well, it lets you hop directly up those first stairs, and I think that just, you know, gives you some value.
Yeah. Speaking of huge time saves, the speed strat for this boss here, you clip into the wall when you throw the pot, instead of having to do it 3 times, it just explodes immediately, and then just a bomb and a bomb arrow, and the genie is done for. Bamboo did it too fast, though, causing his screen to freeze.
Yeah, the German government has stepped in to freeze his stream because he's actually going too fast.
You may live in the nation of the Autobomb, but infinite speed is not allowed in video games.
No.
But, oh, he's back. There we go. Oh, actually, we didn't talk about the bow much. This is actually not a bad time to mention it. The bow is a late-game item that we steal from the shop because the game does not really design around you getting it early. And it does a lot of damage. We use it to 2-shot mini-bosses in D1 and D2, but also lets you use bomb arrows, which we're actually pretty sure is developer intended, even though it's not something the game tells you about. And
well,
bomb arrows are great.
Despite the fact that the bow isn't intended to be had early, stealing is an intended mechanic, so it's kind of funny that they allowed you to do that.
Well, I think it's one of those things where it's like, oh, they expect you might buy the shovel and steal the bow, which still will slow you down, but I don't think they really expect people just to steal multiple things. Like, it's, I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's just, maybe it's a cultural thing. Well,
they thought they'd learn their lesson after the first time.
You'd have too much shame to steal more than one thing.
But we don't. We have no shame.
We don't have shame. We're speedrunners, please.
We're here to win.
Here to go fast. Speaking of going fast, Bamboo about to face off against one of the most dangerous bosses, the menu boss. This is Mad Batter, back from Link to the Past, here to give you quote-unquote junk. Basically increase your inventory of the powder, the bombs, and the arrows. Unfortunately, he always offers you the powder first. You have to make sure to say no and then yes to get the bombs. Otherwise, you're going to be hurting for bombs.
And to answer Spleeby in chat, that is indeed what we do.
Yes. So that's something people ask sometimes. Is 100% a best ending run? It is not. Because since you get killed by the shopkeeper once, you do not get the best ending.
Yeah, we don't concern ourselves in any of our categories with getting a deathless run. Because otherwise we'd have to collect 200 rupees to grab the shovel first.
Yeah, which is between
which,
that
would be fun to write out, but
Yeah, but between that and skipping Marin on the bridge later on, you might as well just call this hate Marin %.
Yeah.
And Bamboo stopped to grab a seashell there in the graveyard. A reroute that happened shortly before this tournament began changed us to get that seashell, because it turns out the Seashell Mansion, where you go take your 20 seashells to get the level 2 sword, also gives you bonus seashells if you go there with 5 and 10. We didn't used to get them both, but it turns out that it's a little bit faster to do that. So we're just gonna go get the 5 seashell prize now, and we'll go back for the 10 seashell prize a little bit later.
And the runners at the Seashell Mansion are going to make use of a fun property of the game, where typically when you enter an entrance, such as this telephone booth, the game tracks what your last warp was. So if you save and quit, they'll go back to that telephone booth. But the Seashell Mansion is unique in that it's one of a few number, like a very low number of two-dimensional screens. And for whatever reason, the game will not save your last known warp if you've warped to a two-dimensional screen. So they're going to grab that seashell, save and quit as they're collecting it, and warp back to that telephone booth to save a bit of time. Which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that's great about this category versus the any % no scoop is just the ability to take advantage of a lot of the little weird things involving save and quit. And also, that picture that you see GT about to get here and Bamboo got a moment ago, the Richard picture, as we affectionately call it, this is one of the ones that you have to get now, because if you do Dungeon 3, you can no longer get this picture. Speaking of Dungeon 3, you may have noticed we're just not going into the castle. There's a reason for that, because that takes forever, so we're just going to skip it, in a trick we call Villa Skip here. You know the technical aspects of it a little bit better than I do, so I'll defer to you on that one.
Well, we see Bamboo here. There's these two pits that kind of separate you from the inner garden of the villa that you typically need the leaves to get to. But what Bamboo's done is he's slashed the pit, jumped to the very edge of the screen transition, and then he's going to buffer with the start menu. So if you hold start through the unpausing the start menu, you'll automatically reopen it after only one frame. So by doing this, we can actually pause on the exact frame that Link starts to fall in the hole, but kind of cancel the fall. And what that does is it actually puts Link a few pixels down below the hole, such that he's standing on the menu, and then we can transition downward into the maze, like we just saw GT do there. And we don't have any golden leaves, so when we dig up the slime key, it looks like a leaf. But the way the game is coded, it just sets your leaf count to 6 when you pick up the leaf, when you pick up that item on the screen, however it looks. So we do that just to skip that whole side quest to get into Dungeon 3.
Yep, and that's not all the skipping we're going to be doing. There's a seashell on an island here you're not supposed to be able to get without the flippers, but thankfully we have a thing called Jesus jumping, where you can jump on the same frame you splash into the water. If you do it on a screen transition, you can transition, and then one save and quit buffer later, and you're back on land. Do another one to get back down, and wow, Bamboo getting some real quick buffers here.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. That's another one of those like parts of a segment that at least I kind of neglect. When I think about Enter D3, I think about good or bad villa skips, but you can gain or lose a ton of time by having a good or bad section here with the Jesus jumps.
Yeah, absolutely, because you want to pause as late as possible, so you have to buffer fewer times, but if you do it too late, you fall in the water, and you have to walk all the way back from the entrance of the screen. Alright, we see Bamboo killing a lot of extra enemies here. One of the things that we do miss out on with using save and quit, though, is Piece of Power, a very powerful power-up. God, that's a lot of power in one sentence. You get from killing 30 enemies without dying or saving and quitting. So we route for it in any %, but in this one, we don't usually kill enough enemies between save and quits to get it. But we do in Dungeon 3, because there's a lot of small, quick-to-kill enemies here. And there it is.
Yep, so Bamboo gets it alright. He killed an extra Stalfos there, but I guess he thought he must have been low, and he got it right on time.
Ooh, he didn't bounce very far on that Dodongo skip. If he had been a little bit more to the left, he might have gotten stuck. That's skipping the mini-boss using a super jump. But you have to do it quickly, otherwise you can get stuck in those blocks.
Yeah, that dong skip is kind of a tricky series of inputs where it's pretty easy to do when you practiced it, but you never know when it might go wrong, and it's always kind of like a sigh of relief when you get it. And we have to do it twice.
Yep, GT getting it fine. Bamboo about to set up for the second try here. And no problem, he gets it.
Yep,
it's a bit safer than the second
no
try to
problem.
get boots, yeah. And we didn't mention it before, but clipping it through the corner between a block and a wall there on a text box is called a flock clip. We saw them do it before Dungeon 2, they do it again right there. Bamboo is already on his way to fight Slime Eye, the boss. A piece of power makes Slime Eye easier and quicker, so it's nice to have in this dungeon.
Yeah, because with the piece of power, you do double damage, and typically you'd want to take out the feather and the sword here to do some jump slashes, but he's able to, because he's doing twice the damage them enough on the first cycle, and then have the blob simply land on his sword, and it's done.
And that's that. Bamboo done with Dungeon 3. Oh, GT actually apparently having a little bit of trouble doing the jump across the pit, having to break the block, doing it the intended way. He's also on his way to Slime Eye here. I didn't see how many if he took any damage. He should still be fine for Piece of Power though. The thing about it is you take 3 hits, you lose it. Well, 3 hits from enemies, you lose it. But he's fine. Both of them done with Dungeon 3. Bamboo first to get some more seashells and head back to the Seashell Mansion.
Yep, the first step in our little collectathon here. A 15-minute sequence of just getting everything we can.
Yes. That's one interesting thing about this category is that there is you'll always do a little bit of housekeeping, so to speak, between dungeons, but there's a couple of times that you do a lot of it, and this is one of them. Because you have to do the Seashell Mansion and also the whole side quest to get the Dungeon 4 key, and take care of go on a date with Marin, take a bunch of extra pictures. Oh, it's quite an adventure. Man, GreenTunic the game really wants him to pick up that Guardian Acorn.
Yeah, it's just not giving up.
It's like, please, GT, please, we want you to be safe.
Yeah, Bamboo skipping the Terran cutscene there, just grabbing the honeycomb with a couple saving quits.
Yep. Now, for those of you playing from home, you might notice that, hey, isn't the honeycomb supposed to be like the 5th thing from the trade sequence? Well, I don't remember if it's the 5th or not, but it's a few ways in. But the thing is, since the game expects you to have done the whole Canelet Castle thing before Dungeon 3, which requires you to do the trade sequence up through the stick, the game just assumes that since you have the bell, you've done the trade sequence, and it just gives you the stick.
Also, you were close. It's the 6th.
Ah, dang it. Thank you.
And, we do get to see the cutscene from GT, though. If Corrin's around, I'm sure he's very happy to see that.
Well, I'm happy to see it, too. Terran deserves that.
He does.
Yeah!
He definitely does.
Bamboo doing the sideways charge out of the Seashell Mansion, that always puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, I love that swag dive.
And already, just grabbing another seashell, already at 12 seashells, less than 25 minutes in. How ridiculous is that, though, when you stop and think about it?
Yeah, time flies by when you're getting things. Or something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how the saying goes.
Yeah, that's the saying, right?
Yeah. Alright, Bamboo, first to get into the animal village, you're going to immediately trade that honeycomb for a pineapple. And there's a reason for that, not just because pineapple is delicious, but also because it turns out that talking to this bear is a thing that causes Marin to appear on the beach, and we need to have Marin at the beach. So, just like that, there. Now she's there.
Yeah, because if it weren't for needing Marin, we would have skipped the honeycomb altogether as well.
Yep, unfortunately, we do need to go on that entire long side quest, because having Marin with us is the only way to get 3 photographs.
3 missable photographs.
Yeah, 3 missable photographs. Because we can actually skip the plot-specific reason we need her, which is to wake up the walrus. We actually have methods of doing that. But we can't skip the photographs. Speaking of skipping, welcome to Inception, and we're going to do a naked super jump, and there you go, that was Inception. Your prize, a sweet potato with holes cut in it.
Yeah, my theory is that when he dreams inside the dream, he's actually seeing reality.
Reality is really small and full of weird enemies.
Well, no wonder he went back to sleep.
Oh, Bamboo taking the stairs instead of jumping down the ledge. Interesting. Whenever I see someone better than me do it, I always wonder: have I just been doing it wrong forever, or is he just doing something to mess with our collective heads? I honestly don't know.
Well, there are times where I see people better than me doing things that are slightly worse, so it does happen.
All right, G2.
Although it clearly doesn't hurt them enough to hinder them.
Yeah, like this loses you time, but everything else is so clean that it doesn't matter.
Who am I to judge?
All right. And GT doing the ledge jump, which is the way I'm familiar with doing it. No problem. Now, Bamboo, unfortunately, having to return Bow Wow, say goodbye to our best friend. Because even though Bow Wow does do some cool things later, like eat cutscenes, or rather he can, we need this photo. Again, always the photos. This would be a very, very different category if you didn't have to get the photos.
Well, it'd be a lot more like Link's Awakening original, Hundo.
That's a good point. I wonder if that's the reason why they were added to this category.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, there's really not a whole lot to collect in this game otherwise.
That's true, that's true.
Pretty much just the boomerang and the heart pieces.
Yeah, because I mean, it's as much as I really, really love this game, it's definitely pretty short by modern Zelda standards.
Oh, definitely. I mean, even the Oracle's games, just having that, more memory to them, are much longer games than this.
Yep. Alright, Bamboo finishing up his pre-Marin stuff. Now he's on his way to the beach in order to pick up Marin and start his hot date. Meanwhile, GT, I guess, not having a hot date and creeping on an old man instead. Oh, Bamboo doing the nut touch. I will never get over that name.
It's one of the better memes.
I am still genuinely surprised no one clipped me absolutely losing everything when the first time I heard that.
And this date starts out pretty innocent, but it really starts to get a little wild.
Yeah, I mean look at those seagulls. They're just doing whatever the heck they want there.
Just going wherever they please. Ah, GT, falling in that pit there.
Also, since he didn't do the pit walk early, he decided he might as well fall into it one more time for good measure here.
He was going for the fabled reverse pit walk and just didn't quite get it.
Well, that's okay. We forgive him for trying. So first things first, Bamboo doing a very popular date activity, which is falling down a well. And the mouse is there to greet him. If you actually go and look at the photo album, Link makes a spectacularly great face when Marin falls on him there.
Yeah, it looks like Link's dying. Like his skull was legitimately crushed. But he gets up and walks away from it, so...
He's a strong boy. And second photo right here on the beach, just look over the sea, listen to the birds, talk about your dreams for the future. Now, both of them just having nice, pleasant musical interludes here.
I always liked this cliff cutscene. I think that was my favorite as a kid.
Oh, the sitting on the beach one, or the looking out over the sea?
Looking out over the sea.
Alright.
For whatever reason.
As a kid, I had Link's Awakening, not DX, so I didn't get these cutscenes.
Aww.
And here we have on Bamboo screen the reason Terran gets chased by bees, because he's incredibly inconsiderate to his daughter's needs. Go away, Terran. Go do whatever it is you do with mushrooms.
Yeah, what does he do? He eats bananas, does mushrooms, and naps all day. Not exactly a role model.
Nope. But unfortunately, this hot date has come to an end. Bamboo on his way to go wake the walrus, which sounds a lot worse than it actually is. As it turns out, Marin just sings a little bit and the walrus wakes up and immediately falls into the sea. Although humorously enough, even though I said that we're not going to skip it, we still do the same thing we would do if we were, which is we're going to bomb trigger the cutscene here. It's a little bit faster than just running across the screen. And just like that. Alright, and the walrus just kind of fell over into the sea. So long. I'm surprised Bamboo put on the feather instead of the Pegasus boots here. Yeah, I guess you save a menu, but... Alright, here we go. Another bomb trigger right here to get that heart piece, because you're supposed to have the hook shot, but turns out, who needs the hook shot when you have bombs?
And yeah, sorry to interject, but yeah, so it turns out it's actually slightly faster just to take the feather to that cave instead of dashing.
I'm learning so much today.
Well, I think though, if you well, we're gonna see GT do it, or actually, I'm not sure what GT is gonna do, but I was gonna say Black Strat, where he actually does the heart piece first and then bomb triggers the walrus afterwards. He takes the boots all the way up.
Yeah, that one I've seen, but I was again under the impression that it was faster to do the bomb trigger on the left than do it from the tops, but
it's like frames apart.
Yeah, I think it's a preference thing, really. And GT getting himself a bomb-triggered heart piece, while Bamboo menaces the crap out of an empty room to get a key. Gonna get himself a seashell, and then get out of this very small desert. I mean, this is a really small desert.
Well, really, how does an island this size have a desert at all?
How
can you call it a desert?
It's more like an extended beach.
Really?
Now it's time for our first big musical interlude here, where even though we don't use it, we do have to get all 3 ocarina songs, which includes this.
And shout out to the invisible string accompaniment there. Well, you know what? I've got a theory.
What?
They start playing together, and it's the instruments that Link already has collected that start playing with them. Right? Like a little hint of what's to come?
Possibly?
I mean, we've got the cello.
Well, I mean, that was a pretty high-pitched cello, then.
Well, the theory's not perfect, you know, I'm still working on it.
Alright, well, then you keep right on working on that. And, oh gosh, I've been having a little bit of trouble with those goats just piling on him there.
Yeah, that one screen is a huge pain if they get in your way.
Alright, Bamboo first to make it up into the mountains here. First things first, but before he does so, he has to do one of the most important tricks of the run, the obstacle skip. We'll see if he can do it here. Looks good. There we go, no problem. And he could jump down to Dungeon 4 right now if he wanted to, but he's going to take a bit of a detour. To take care of some business up in the mountains, he has to go get a secret seashell and then also bear witness to workplace safety violations. Which also includes a photo, as it turns out.
And it also looks like he's opting not to go for early rooster skip here.
Unfortunately, I saw Bamboo talking in the Discord earlier today. He has sworn he will never do early rooster skip.
Oh my, that is quite a claim.
I know, but he said it.
Wow. Even I'm gonna learn early rooster skip.
But he does, however, give us the glowing butt sword. And I too will learn it, although since it's still relatively new, it's there's still it doesn't feel like there's too many good resources for how to do it, so it'll be fun times. And, oh no, GT not getting his obstacle skip, having to break the crystal, and with the shattering of the crystal, so too shatters my respect.
How embarrassing for him. To have this many people watching him just fail the obstacle skip like that, and there's nothing he can do about it. What must the man be feeling?
He's probably feeling that Jerk Crunchy's probably talking crap on me right now, and he would be correct.
Yeah, if there's one thing you can count on during this tournament is that if you're in the race and you miss obstacle skip, you know it's going to be talked about.
It's true. Alright, but we're not actually talking about Dungeon 4 at all, which is, oh, Bamboo unfortunately showing what happens when you don't quite, when you possibly just jump too late. Now he has to just keep running back from the entrance. There we go. So they're going to be doing the entirety of Dungeon 4. Anyone who may have watched the Any% tournament last year might remember that we actually used to split this dungeon in half. We don't anymore. Now we just do it all. Because it turns out we actually need to do some stuff with the ghost that we were trying to avoid. Alright. Bamboo has a flipper, so now he can swim, somewhat.
Yeah, a single flipper is all it takes, apparently.
Yeah, thankfully by the time that they have the flippers to the Oracle games, they actually give you 2 of them.
Well, they're not easy to make, you know.
No, they're not. And
like mythical scales and enchantments, probably.
You know, you're thinking of the mermaid suit. You mean also known as "Ow my thumb"?
Well, the flipper is like part mermaid suit, right? Just the bottom half.
I don't think that's how it works. And I guess we could talk about Anglerfish, but he's not worth talking about because he's already dead.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for trying. Poor Anglerfish. Doll himself up to look super menacing, has this big arena with a skull and everything, and then just the easiest boss. Just the easiest boss.
And there's only one person who's ever had trouble with him.
Shoutouts to Fan and Matt.
Oh, that's not even who I was shouting out.
Oh, then I guess there's 2 people.
I was beating the dead horse that is Cravone's Anglerfish.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Well, it's a good thing I brought it up then, because never forget.
Speaking of fish, it's now time for the other important fish.
Mambo.
Mambo. And you saw the word right there, so coming up here in a bit, you'd better sing along, because now there's no excuse. You know the words. Oh! Xander pointing out that the skull in Anglerfish's room is actually Cravone's skull.
It is indeed. That is proven lore. It's canon with the series.
Bet y'all didn't think you were going to be getting some lore today. But yeah, Mambo's Mambo is actually the only song we actually play on the Ocarina in this run, so we hope you like it. But now it's time for some more housekeeping between dungeons here, and this one actually involves going all over the island and a difficult trick, so hope everybody's ready for some excitement.
Yeah, this time our cleanup takes us to the bay. So there's a couple seashells we want to get here, and like Crunchy said, a very important trick that gets us a very important item early.
Oh,
and Bamboo's going for the new, faster save and quit strat here, so we'll see how that goes for him.
Yeah, it's a challenging one though, because there's no good visual cue for it, so he has to just kind of do it by feel. So we'll see how it goes for him when he gets there.
Yeah, so this is kind of similar to the save and quits we saw earlier with Terran and the honeycomb, or the bear and the pineapple, where if we can set our point at the telephone booth and save and quit just as we get the mermaid scale, we can save the whole cutscene of her jumping around and having to swim back to the bridge. But, like Crunchy said, there's no good visual cue for it, and there's quite a gap in time between Link surfacing and you actually having the little animation. So it can go good or bad depending on your timing.
Yep, and also, I mean, there we also saw Link drop bombs into a bridge to bomb trigger fishing up a bikini top, because this is a thing that happens in the Zelda universe.
Yep, and that just lets us skip every trading item up until that point. And even if we hadn't had the honeycomb and the pineapple by this point, we would have gotten the bra there. And Bamboo actually missed the save. He wanted to save and quit right as he got the scale, but he tried too late and unfortunately had to watch the mermaid swim away. And then he got spoken to by the ghost.
All right,
which is a random thing that can happen and lost him a ton of time.
Yeah, thankfully it happened there, not here. He's about to do a very tight trick here called, this is what we refer to as early magnifying lens. We're going to take advantage of the Zora here to clip into the wall and then super jump across. Unfortunately, the ghost can't actually talk to you between those buffers you do. And if he does, then, well, you're done. He screws you up.
And Bamboo nails it. Bamboo's aware of... that Zora has 3 different positions you can spawn in, and we have a couple of setups depending on which spot he picks. And Bamboo knew that RNG, he knew that setup, and he nailed it. So that's very nice.
And GreenTunic, oh no! He gets the first save and quit buffer, but then doesn't get the second one.
Oh, that's such a shame.
If he just done it one more time. Oh, he's taking the save and quit anyway. He's like, nah, screw this. While Bamboo is going fishing for photographers.
In the silliest cutscene in this game.
All right, GreenTunic getting a different setup. Oh, unfortunately, falling in the water.
Now, an unbuffered Sora bump can save you, a ton of time relatively, but it's also very hard to execute in time.
Does GT not know the bottom right strat? Because he had it and then he didn't set up for it.
Well, he may just be going for it unbuffered in general.
Could be.
GT's the kind of runner that likes those strats, like he'll go for unbuffered devil skip.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Because unbuffered always definitely looks cooler. Unfortunately, just the Zora's not being cooperative here.
Oh, there he goes. He's in position. Oh!
Oh, no!
He was 1 pixel off. He tried to rearrange, but unfortunately fell into the water. It's like a 1 pixel window. It's very tight.
Yeah, this is what you always worry about when you get to early magnifying lens. Can you get it within the first try or two is what you want. And because it has an annoying tendency to just kind of snowball. You miss it once, you feel you can never just miss it once. You always miss it like 5 times.
Yeah, you either get it or you just struggle for a while. And yeah, we didn't really mention it, but that super jump across the water there, it's pixel perfect. So you have to start in a pixel perfect position, and then you have a 50-50 chance of being able to either walk out of it or have to dash out of it based on, how far you jump. Because the jump is actually slightly variable.
Yep. And GreenTunic fishing for the photographer, while BambooShadow gets the most powerful weapon in the game. This isn't shenanigans, folks. The boomerang is that powerful in this game. It does all sorts of things. It lets you pick things up through blocks. It lets you explode bushes. It lets you one-shot the final boss. It lets you do just about everything short of... I don't know, just skipping instruments, I guess. And just a little bit more stuff to do down here. Gonna get a seashell from that bush, visit the Mad Batter, and then Bamboo will be back on his way, heading up to Dungeon 0.
And Bamboo using the sword there. It'll be interesting to see if GT pulls out the boomerang instead.
Yeah, I actually am very appreciative that we've been having more and more use of the boomerang in this category lately.
I know.
It feels like we were only just using it for very specific things, and now we're just like, wait, it's useful in a bunch of spots, so we've been using it more.
Well, because it's the only category where we actually see the boomerang, so it was such a shame that we didn't use it more. So yeah, I agree. It's really nice that we found not just new uses for it, but even strats that require it.
Yeah. What's the point of having the most powerful weapon in the game if you don't get to use it for weird nonsense?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's literally the most powerful weapon in the game, and we still didn't really use it.
Yep. It kills enemies that you can't kill with any other weapon. That's pretty wild.
Including the final boss.
Yeah. And the sparks. And the anti-fairies.
So, I was going to say, GT having a bit of trouble setting up his bomb there for opening the cave, he opted not to do a bomb arrow for some reason, and also opted not to take a damage boost. But then on Bamboo's side, it is tricky menuing around that point of the game, where he just mamboed away from the upgrade shrine, and he was having, a hell of a time getting his menu set up the way he'd like it there. But you're very careful after that first warp to put your ocarina in as far a corner as you can, because once you have songs in the ocarina, that little sub-menu starts popping up when you hover over it, and it just absolutely ruins your day when you try to menu and you accidentally touch it.
God, there's so many things that suck about that menu. You can't, if you're on the ocarina, you can't menu left or right. The menu opens and closes takes time, so even if you're trying to go to the thing above it, and if you push the button to switch the items too quickly, it doesn't happen, then you have to re-menu. It's so incredibly annoying. Actually, this is one of the spots where the boomerang is useful. Bamboo doing the old swag jump strat. Turns out the boomerang will actually go right through those blocks and bring you that piece of art. And it also kills these ghosts.
Well, yeah, that's one of those cases where we found out we could use the boomerang there, and it made everything faster and cooler and safer. So you gotta love when it all lines up like that.
Oh, it's the best. Meanwhile, now we're in the color dungeon, which is great. You can't actually go into the color dungeon if you're playing this on a non-color Game Boy. And even then, the game just makes sure to say, okay, just to make sure, what color am I? Now, what color am I? Well, thanks for nothing.
Yeah, the most unnecessary quiz, but we gotta do it.
Yep, and now here comes the other fun thing about the color dungeon. Since the color dungeon was something that was added to this game in the DX version, the game handles it a little bit differently. So the state of the dungeon is actually not saved on the cartridge memory like everything else. It's saved on the console memory, which resets when you power cycle. So what's going to that room with the rupees? You're going to see BambooShadow go all the way to the Nightmare Key, and once he gets it, he's going to actually hard reset, which will refill that room.
And we can just farm those rupees infinitely. If we wanted to just get 999 rupees, that's how we would do it. But we only need 300 to get the Frog Song Soul from Mamu shortly.
Yep. And this dungeon also has a couple mini-bosses. First one coming up here is a large slime. Thankfully, slimes hate pocket sand, and we're just going to get right into his face immediately, right here. Just like that. Oh, GT showing off a slightly different strat for jumping to get that piece of heart.
Yeah, it's a slightly safer strat than doing the dash strat with the feather. But now that we have the boomerang is just easier and safer than that.
Yeah. Alright, and there's Bamboo's hard reset. Now, GT having a little bit of trouble with those ghosts there. They do like to get out of control. And behold, the rupees are back. There you go, 309 rupees. He is set for the rest of the game. Also, here's Stone Hinox, which is about as threatening as actual Hinox.
Yeah, he has the special ability of the second arrow clinking off of him. But it doesn't really do much to save him because it still only takes 2 arrows to kill him.
Now here comes the true boss of the color dungeon, which is the bingo room.
Oh god, yeah.
You have to make sure that these little globe guys go into the correctly colored hole, and they will literally bounce off everything you don't want them to bounce off of. There we go. Bamboo oh god, he fell in the hole though.
I was gonna say that was pretty good, but yeah, lost some time in the fall. Yeah, getting a really good bingo room is possible, but just so rare.
Yeah, it's a combination of just being good at managing those enemies and also luck.
Yeah. Even if you do everything perfectly, they might just still move in an unfavorable pattern.
Yeah, and that was the dungeon boss. It involves something with colors and patterns and different things it does depending on what color it is, but turns out none of that matters when you just fire a barrage of arrows into its face.
Yeah, so they thought the gimmick for that boss would be to give it variable health. So its health is based on the color it's showing, and if you don't attack it quickly enough, it'll slowly regenerate health. But yeah, like Renji said, we just mash arrows, and it cannot regen health fast enough to matter.
The bow and arrow is a very powerful weapon in this game.
Oh god, yeah. It'd be like, I've seen people do this dungeon without the bow and arrow, but I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. All right, Bamboo. Now, 100% means you have to get one of the two tunics from Color Dungeon because you can't get them both, obviously. And choice is up to the runner's discretion. Bamboo going for the red tunic. Green GT probably going to be going for the blue tunic. That's what we've seen him do the last few races. Red tunic gives you the properties of the piece of power aside from the movement speed. So you do extra damage, you have the knockback effect, but it also gives enemies longer invincibility frames, which does come into play for a couple of bosses, at least for one boss. For one boss, I keep saying more than one. And we're doing that dumb jump in the signpost maze. I hate that jump.
It's actually a really fun jump because what you're abusing is for whatever reason, if you do a dash jumping not only has a slightly slower speed than dashing itself, but if you hold diagonal during a dash jump, your speed will decrease to the point as if you were just simply walking, or just jumping without any speed. So what they do there is they have to jump to the left immediately after the jump, let go of left, and only hold down to kind of curve their jump. So it can be a very frustrating jump, but mechanically it can be really fun too.
Alright, Bamboo finished with his signpost maze, about to pay 300 rupees to receive the best song. So everybody please stand for the national anthem.
Also want to point out too that Bamboo decided to grab the red tunic while GreenTunic grabbed the blue tunic. And that is confusing to say.
I'm just going to call him blue tunic, it's fine.
That definitely saves us some headaches.
We didn't mention it, but I said what the red tunic does. The blue tunic gives you the properties of the guardian acorn, so you take half damage. So you don't get the extra damage, you don't get the faster pickup speed, but you also get a lot of safety, because at this point in the game, things are doing 2 hearts of damage, and we're not really going to be stopping to take any refills. And Bamboo about to go to get the most nonsense heart piece in the game. There is really... The game does not say or do anything to tell you that this heart piece is here, and it's so out of the way. You have to... Listen, the way he's taking is the only way to get to it. And look at how long and senseless of a detour this is.
Yeah, it almost feels like because of how few hearts there are in this game and how quickly you kind of get a lot of health through the dungeons, they almost I get the sense that they intended for the heart pieces to not just be optional, but to be a reward in and of themselves. Like, there's 4 of the 8 heart pieces that are so well hidden that I find it hard to believe that anybody casually without a guide found them all.
Yeah, it feels like one of those things where these are official Nintendo Power heart pieces.
Yeah, they knew they were selling the secrets. I object. I'll have you know, I didn't switch the audio for Mambo, so, you know.
Okay.
I'll leave this the better man.
I mean, you could have. I wouldn't have said anything.
Well, I was hoping we were kind of past this.
You say funny things.
Mom, Dad, my co-commentator's rude.
Oh yeah, Bamboo's now in the Armos maze here. This area can be surprisingly dangerous. Armos is due 2 hearts of damage. Thankfully, he's just working through here, no problem. While GreenTunic goes to make his own long swim for that heart piece.
And Bamboo is doing well on health right now. Health is a consideration to this part of the run, just because even just the odd hit from an Armos Knight can do a ton of damage. And with the red tunic, no less, you know, it does a full 2 hearts.
Yeah. Thankfully, one of the properties of the red tunic is it gives Link's normal slashes the properties of the Spin Slash, which is normally the only way to damage the Armos Knight with the sword, so it makes the fight a lot easier. Well,
yeah,
quicker,
so that's one
least.
difference we'll see, where Bamboo has a much easier Armos fight than GreenTunic, but it'll also, you know, spin the other way later for the D5 boss.
Alright, we see GT getting the final photo, which Bamboo got a moment ago. The fish photo. You can't actually get this without the magnifying lens. It's something that is never really made clear. Just, if you go into this house normally, there's just no one in it.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I thought it meant that the Zora was very small or something like that. But I think it means that, like, Link is he can deduce things now. He's got a magnifying lens, like he's Sherlock Holmes on Covalent Island.
Possibly, or it could also be said that the magnifying lens in this game is kind of like the predecessor to the lens of truth in Ocarina of Time.
Oh.
This is actually a very transitional game between Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. A lot of things that appear in Link's Awakening end up appearing in Ocarina of Time as well. So this game bridges the two games very neatly. Alright, Bamboo, now in the nice chill Dungeon 6, the Phase Shrine, just enjoying these mellow tunes and moving quickly. This room is pretty cool, though. Just drop a bomb there and just, Oh, unfortunately, did not move around the corner fast enough, so that one Zol was not going to be in the blast radius of that bomb.
And the most challenging underground segment.
You say that, but I still have trouble with it.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I know it's supposed to say, oh, just hold up left and everything works. Well, usually half the time I'll either go back up to the other room, and the other half the time I'll still somehow fall to the bottom of the room. So I don't know.
Well, the thing is, you just have to face tank the hits. You take the damage, and you just accept it, and you just don't let go of up left.
I know, but it still literally just doesn't work half the time.
Oh, okay. Well, when you first enter it, you have to, like, drop down the ladder a bit before you start holding up left.
I know, and then I just fall to the ground.
Oh, no. Oh, Crunchy, we're gonna have to have a clinic.
I don't think a clinic can help me. But, yeah, here's another room that changes with the red tunic, because with the knockback, you can't just hit that Wizrobe at any time. If you do, it'll just get knocked way past that explosion. You have to time it.
Yeah, which isn't a big deal, and, you know, it's not terribly difficult to execute with practice. But it is just another nice difference with the blue tunic, where it's just one less thing to worry about, one less thing to time or get wrong.
Yeah.
In a run where there's so many little things that you do right most of the time but could do wrong, it's nice to have one less.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the reasons. I honestly think that's one of the reasons why the blue tunic has been gaining a bit more traction lately. Because the red tunic, is in other categories well, it used to be unquestionably faster with the old route. With the new route, the gap is less. So if you're willing to sacrifice a small amount of time in order to just have fewer things to worry about and just easier peace of mind, then the blue tunic is not that hard of a sell anymore.
Well, it's one of those things where once we knew they were, like, without even testing, we knew they were fairly close. So yeah, to go for the added safety and the added convenience on the Dungeon 5 boss, it was a no-brainer for people like me. But, you know, people who were trying to go for world record times and stuff, they were harder to convince. But now that we know that unless you're going for perfect everything all the time, your average times are probably going to be served better up with blue tunic, you know?
Yeah. And Bamboo showing off why he still keeps getting the good luck, getting second try horse heads there. And this is Facade. The game continues its questionable habit of having enemy hitboxes appear before you can see them. Takes 5 bombs, that's already 4. One more and Facade gets to go packing. I don't know where he's packing to go to. I don't know where you can travel if you're just kind of a face on the floor, honestly.
He probably just ceases to be.
Yeah, he goes to his brother's house in Oracle of Seasons.
Or is it the other way?
No, it's this way.
Wouldn't Link have faced him first in Holodrum, and then this is the nightmare?
I mean... I don't, if you're going by whatever the official timeline says, then I wouldn't know. I ignore that. But this game came out first, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And apparently it's better to ignore the timeline now that they've changed it.
The less I think about the timeline, the better any of my days of my life are. Bamboo trying to do a bomb trigger there to skip the owl flying away, which not the most important bomb trigger, but still one that if you can and you have the bombs to spare, which you do, then might as well. But now it's time. Now it's time for the show. Now it's time for the big show. The pyrotechnics, the lights, the sounds. We've got it all here on Koholint Island.
Lightning,
and we even
lasers.
have the door prize. What?
Lightning and lasers and explosions.
We take all that and we compress it into a single souvenir that's usable. The level 2 sword made out of pure, honest-to-goodness lightning and laser lights!
And, you know, despite how good the level 2 sword is, the cutscene is still too much.
Excuse me?
It really makes you think you're gonna be, like, zapping enemies, like, from a distance with lightning bolts.
Well, you are gonna be! It has beams! What more do you want?
I'm talking about, like, wiping the screen.
No, I mean, they were going to do that.
I'm talking Mjolnir, you know? Summoning lightning from the sky. That's what it looks like.
Okay, you know, I think the story was originally going to have that power, but the evil shopkeeper stole those abilities for himself.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That's good lore.
Explains so much. Yeah, that's the deepest lore.
I mean, if it's a stream where we can learn something new, then it's a good stream.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Bamboo getting the swag kill on 2 of those Helmasaurs that he didn't need to kill, but it probably felt really good.
Oh, undoubtedly. Speaking of feeling good, hopefully he's going to feel good about how early hookshot goes for him here. This is the big important trick of Dungeon 5, letting you skip most of the nonsense. If you pick up this key on the same frame you pass through that door transition by means of the boomerang, didn't quite work for him. You pick it up in the next room, and the game turns it into the hookshot. Unfortunately, even with a perfect setup, it's a 50-50 chance because global frame rules exist and they hate you. And there we go, second try, very nice.
Yep, breaking the average is always nice on that.
Yeah. This is an unfortunate trick, because this is actually pretty far into the run at this point, and you could be having a flawless run, then just get 4th try early hookshot, and congratulations, you just lost a minute.
Or you could be having a bad run already, and then get 6th try early hookshot anyway.
Yes, that is the thing that happens.
Just to pull a scenario out of my hat, you know, things like that can happen.
Yeah, it's true, it's true. These random scenarios that you are making up that have not actually happened to anybody. Oh, fun thing about the sword beams, though. You can use them to hit Master Stalfos here. Normally you're supposed to use bombs. Turns out, sword beams work. And they're faster.
Yeah, and it's funny to me, because if you're gonna damage the boss with bombs or bomb arrows, it takes 3, and a quick 4 will actually just straight up kill the enemy, which is not intended. Whereas the sword beams, it only takes 3 hits. But you never actually damage him to the point of killing him, so it's kind of an interesting difference in the damage types, I guess.
I think it's one of those things where all enemies have to have a health value, but this one also happens to have a hit number value like the boss does.
Yeah, that's right. It must have 2 separate sort of health gauges.
Yeah. I mean,
right,
I'm
so
not 100%
GT's
certain, but
his.
that's what I figure. All right, let's see how GreenTunic's early hookshot goes here. He can gain some time back here if he gets it first. Oh, he has to make sure to pick up that heart container. The screen has to be clear of drops, otherwise the trick will not work. He's getting that pixel. There he goes. And first try.
Hey!
No, first try!
You did that, Crunchy. That was all you.
I can't wait to get 6th try early hookshot in all my runs this week.
I mean, it's unfortunate that you gave your good luck to GT in his race. It's very kind of you, but you are going to suffer the consequences.
Yeah, because goodness knows I don't have that much luck to spread around. Alright, here we go. It's time for Wall Snake. I guess it hasn't... Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, with the red tunic for Bamboo here, that knockback effect isn't going to knock the boss back, but it is going to increase the length of time between hits that he's going to be able to get. So, 3 hit first cycle, 3-hit second cycle, so yeah, Bamboo's gonna get a 3-cycle boss here.
But still, it's a very clean Red Tunic fight, though.
A very clean one. That was a very good boss fight.
Yeah, no extra. He pulled out every single chance he got. 3-3-2. That's with Red Tunic. That's one of the best things you can get.
Yeah, I mean, you can hope for a 4-4 with Red Tunic, but that is about as good as you should expect going in with Red Tunic. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Now,
so it is possible to get 4 hits per cycle in with the Red Tunic, but that iframe cooldown period just makes it much more difficult, and you really need to get the long pulls, not the short pulls, to be able to fit in 4 hits.
Yeah.
But we'll see as GT gets there himself, having the blue tunic, or in other categories having the green tunic, the timing for those sword slashes is much small. Like you can fit much more damage in it much more quickly, and you can even get 5 hit cycles relatively easily.
Yeah, but it all still comes down to having Wall Snake pop out of the spots that you can reach. Because even though with practice you can pretty much pull them out of any spot if you're good, still sometimes they'll appear in the opposite corner and you're just like, and the tail's in the way, and just gotta. It's a combination of luck and just practice and dealing with bad cases. Yeah,
like the one that troubles a lot of people a lot of the time is the bottom right corner on the second cycle, because his tail is always in the way.
Yeah.
But I find even myself sometimes, I'm in the right position, but I'm kind of looking on one side of the screen, almost just gambling on it, like not like subconsciously gambling, and then I just get caught on the other side.
There we go, 4 hits, so he's in shape. He's in good shape for the 2-cycle, and oh, what a good position! He should have it right here, just like that.
Yeah, easy peasy. Blue Tunic makes that fight just so much easier than with the Red Tunic.
Alright, meanwhile, BambooShadow going to be setting up for a bomb trigger here to grab that heart container. Having to do the extra buffer to get it. There we go. Now let's see if he can get himself that all-important obstacle skip part 2. Ooh, he looks good, and there he goes. But now he's on his way to one of the more challenging tricks in the run, and not only that, but Bamboo does it in an extra challenging way. It's time for Rooster Skip. We don't get the Flying Rooster in this category, even though we do have the Frog Song of Soul, because it just takes too long. So instead, we're just going to take advantage of nonsense involving the hookshot to get over a gigantic pit. Unfortunately, falling down the pit doesn't put you back at the entrance to the room. Oh no, Bamboo!
That's why I don't go that way. That's why I don't do that.
Well, he got the tricky jump, and then he accidentally just walked into the pit. I think he probably just pushed the jump button a little bit too late.
Yeah, that's what happens. That happens sometimes.
Oh gosh, unfortunately, yeah, all the pits in this entire cave will drop you back out into the river, so he's got to be careful. Now, he does this unbuffered, so he's at the mercy of how good his timing is today. And there's the first one. Come on.
What Bamboo is trying to do is he's trying to press the jump key on the exact same, on the very last frame that the hookshot is retreating. And that gives you a jump on the pit. And so it's frame perfect. He has to do it twice. Now, we hesitate to call it a double frame perfect trick, because as you saw, you don't fall immediately. You can hookshot quite a few times before you'll actually finally fall down the center of a pit. You'll see they try to balance on kind of the edges of pit tiles, because you only fall down the center of them. Oh, and double firsties!
Oh, double firsties.
So the 2 falls is extremely unfortunate, but Bamboo brings it back with a double firsties to close it out.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's still lost almost an entire minute with those 2 falls.
Yeah, geez, GT has caught up. GT now just has to do his Rooster Skip. So if it all goes well, GT's probably only maybe 20-30 seconds behind.
Well, I guess we'll see. It depends on how his Rooster Skip goes here.
Yeah. GT, I think, goes unbuffered, but he might be the kind of person to buffer if it starts going wrong.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty common, and it's fair to see why, considering how costly a mistake on this trick is.
Ooh.
Ooh!
Nice. 2 and 1.
Very nice. He's definitely getting back some time there.
Yeah, that was much better, obviously, than Bamboo's ordeal. Still quite the gap, but oh my god, has that closed it.
Oh god, yes. There's still any number of things between now and Dot Dunning that can cause this to close even more.
If only Pravone was here to tell us how many blue balls difference there is.
I mean, it's 8 seconds per, so...
Oh, that's too much.
Or is it 6 seconds?
As an engineer, they teach you to use calculators, not your brain.
Okay, no. As an engineer, they tell you that tolerances are important and close enough is enough.
You keep saying that, but that's not what they teach you.
I literally have an engineering degree. What are you talking about?
Me too. Safety factors.
This isn't mathematics. This isn't supposed to be 100% exact to the tiniest decimal point.
You're the reason bridges fall.
That's the meanest thing someone said to me in like months.
Wait, are you a civil engineer?
No.
Okay, that's not that mean.
No, it's still pretty darn mean.
I'm sorry, Crutchy.
But you know what's the reason that pillars fall? Bombs, because bomb triggers are essentially what makes this dungeon an absolute joke.
And it kind of makes sense, right? We just swapped the wrecking ball for TNT.
Yeah, because I mean, bombs are round and dark colored, like the ball that we use to break the pillars normally. So that's close enough. And just like that, this tower is gone from 4 stories to 3 stories.
Yeah, definitely such a cool mechanic for a dungeon.
Yeah.
It's a really cool dungeon casually if you're not too frustrated by it. And it's even cooler in the speedrun because of how much we break it with these bomb triggers.
Yeah, although unfortunately I fall into the ladder camp of casually as a child. This dungeon frustrated the bejeebus out of me. Alright, and Bamboo, unfortunately not getting good positioning for his Goombas here. He needs that top Goomba to go right so he can set up for Goomba Surf and bounce up onto that platform.
Because what we're doing here is, normally you'd have to fight the mini-boss off to the left room there to get the Nightmare Key. But there's actually a number of ways we can get around that door. So we saw Bamboo did finally get the Goomba to move in the direction he wanted, and he was able to kind of super jump and then bounce off the Goomba up onto that top shelf. And we'll see if GreenTunic goes for that as well, or if he goes for the P-Hat super jump.
Yeah, P-Hat super jump is technically slower, but it's also consistent, so you don't have to rely on enemy positioning to do it.
And it's also not as much slower as previously thought, either.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Node Kaju was looking at gold times for numbers of runners, of top-tier runners, using different strats. And it really didn't lose that much time overall, because you have to think, it's not just the number of attempts to get the Goomba to move in the correct position, but you also have to set up, wall clip in the right position. You know, there's the transitions and whether or not you wait and all that. Maybe you have to dash out of the wall. And in this category anyway, going for the P-Hat super jump doesn't actually cost you any extra menus.
That's a good point.
Now, of course, going for world record, pushing it, you can definitely save a couple seconds with a perfect Goomba Surf. But it's not as bad as we thought. GT having such a hard time with the Goomba Surf there.
He's had enough.
Yeah, we're going to see the P-Hat super jump.
And here we go, just wall jump here. Tink off
Such
that
a cool
P-Hat.
trick.
It is. It's also one where it's not terribly dangerous, at least until the first time that you accidentally get hit by the BMOS and knocked behind the blocks, at which point you just... sadness happens.
Well, and hopefully when the first time that happens, you know the backup, but... I know for me, at least, as a new runner getting knocked up there, I didn't know the backup.
Alright, and there Bamboo jumping across those bridges, leaving Marin to her fate. Sad face.
She's just up there for attention. You know, she put herself there, she can get down.
She did not put herself there. It's literally in the story why she's up there.
No. Have you seen her walk just across the pit and get down? Or walk across treetops? She's got the moves.
You know what? If I weren't being distracted by all these falling cabbages, I would have stronger words for you right now.
Cookies.
They're cabbages.
A Link to the Past is Cabbage Mountain. LADX has Cookie Mountain.
In Link to the Past, those are like orange.
In Link to the Past, they're literally green.
What?
Yes.
What kind of wacky colored screen are you playing on?
You can put this in the column of things you learned today.
I refused. Instead, I'm going to watch BambooShadow throw pocket sand at a Moldorm until it explodes into flame.
One of the best uses of powder in this game is when you can smash it right after getting the upgrade.
Yes. All right, and that was that was flame skip there. We have the level 2 shield, but we're not going to use it. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person to actually use the level 2 shield for its intended purpose at any point in this entire year.
But we're glad you did.
Yes, it's now forever chronicled in the memes channel of the Discord.
I mean, for all most of us know, you could have just found the new skip, because so few people actually know what the shield does.
It shields things, I guess, I don't know. But hey, it's Dungeon 8. So Turtle Rock is an incredibly obnoxious dungeon casually. But it turns out there's a whole bunch of hidden shortcuts and breakable, bombable walls that turn this dungeon into one of the shortest, if you know what you're doing. And thankfully, both Bamboo and GT know what they're doing. So first we're going to just hookshot into a flop clip, and just like that, on their way to Blano.
Yeah, because if you manage to jump and hookshot on the same frame, assuming that you have hookshot specifically on B, you'll hookshot right in the beginning of like a jump state, and your hookshot goes twice as fast, which clips you twice as far into the block that you end at, and you can just shimmy through the block. Which is actually, it doesn't just save you a key in general, but because of where the key would be to collect, it saves a ton of time in routing through this dungeon.
Mm-hmm. And Bamboo now having the magic rod already on his way to get the last couple of things and just finish up here. But first, he's gonna go for a swim, have a little bit of leisure time here. So Jesus jumping on the lava, you have to slash this time on the transition, otherwise you just kind of fall in the lava, but he does it, no problem.
Or at least without the slash, you're leaving it up to luck. You know, it's like a sub-pixel garbage.
I'm just going to assume it never works because it's never worked for me any times that I've forgotten to slash.
Yeah, the success rate is pretty low, you might as well assume. And certainly, since we have to equip the bow there anyway, there's no cost to equipping the sword.
Yeah. A fun thing about that heart piece, that's another one of those situations where if you jump and throw the boomerang straight up, it'll actually just grab it and bring it down to you. Oh gosh, Bamboo having a little trouble with cue ball here. There we go.
But pretty easy when you got the level 2 sword.
Yeah.
I mean, Blano and cue ball both just die in two swings with the level 2.
It's true. And Bamboo showing off his specific strat for the Roomba Room here. Oh, unfortunately having a little bit of trouble opening the chest. I'm sure we'll see GT do a slightly different movement there, because everyone does it a little bit differently.
Yeah, Bamboo's method there is more similar to the older strats that people used to do.
Oh.
Oh. Bamboo having trouble
there we
with these jumps today. First, you know, had trouble in D4, now he's having trouble here too.
Yeah, well, it's all for now. We'll see how it goes for him here on a Hothead. A surprisingly annoying boss.
Such a terrible boss. Worst boss in the game.
Hate this boss.
Hothead to me is worse than even the final boss.
And if you with Red Tunic, those little lava balls do 3 hearts, don't they?
4.
Oh dang!
Yeah, it's actually even at full health, it's quite easy to die to this boss if you let him hit you too many times.
All right, and Bamboo showing off. There it is. Little bit of Wang boys, run validated.
What a trooper. GT having trouble getting the Vire kill with the boomerang there. It's actually kind of tight to time. Like, I'm not sure how he goes about it, but I wait until the door lag, and then I quickly boomerang and pause. And it's very tight to get the boomerang to fire towards the Vire, but without moving so far that you kind of alert the Vire. It's kind of tricky.
Yeah, thankfully there's multiple ways of dealing with the Vire, either on the first time into the room from the bottom, or on the return from the outside, depending on whether or not you get the heart piece before or after the Nightmare Key.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite easy to get him with the sword if you're going in, like, when you first enter that room. But then you kind of miss out on the time save of using the boomerang strat, like we saw GT do there. That lets you kind of grab the heart piece through the cave entrance, rather than having to walk around.
Alright, now it's time to play the Ballad of the Windfish and open up the egg, but we're not going to use the ocarina because, why? We have bombs.
Beautiful bombs. Such a lovely sound.
Yes, that nice, deep, explosive tone.
Booming.
Which is kind of funny and pressing considering that we're outdoors and there's no chance for echo. That's a fair point. Link's Awakening DX speedrunning can be very easily summarized as why we have bombs. And here we go, the Windfish's egg. Now, we have the magnifying lens, but we're not going to go read the book, because it turns out, if you don't read the book, there's a default path through the egg before it gets randomized as soon as you read the book, so...
Which is so stupid.
I mean, it makes sense though. I mean, you can't just have it be null. You have to have some sort of base state.
You can though. I patched the game to make a default of just unsolvable. It's actually really easy to do. The devs of this game just had no idea what they were doing.
I mean, they obviously did. They made a game, but I mean, they just chose not to. I don't know why.
Well, I was gonna say it's a game held together by band-aids and duct tape.
All right, Bamboo getting the blob quick kill there. Now it's time for Aghanim, everyone's favorite late game run killer. The first 2 balls are free. After that, 50-50 chance, yellow ball, blue ball, and there is no cap. This isn't a Link to the Past. So here we go.
And yeah, Lord Nav, this game is the definition of spaghetti code. Not just Link's Awakening original, but specifically to all the DX editions that they added in the remake. They kind of assumed that nobody would ever have the technology to look inside the game, but but we do, and we can see what they've done.
Why y'all being so mean to the developers?
You know, you can take it for the art, but it's not a good example of development.
It runs fine. We're just speedrunners and find all the glitches. Like, you're playing this game casually, you're not going to encounter any of these things.
Well, you know I clearly love this game. I wouldn't spend this much time if I didn't.
No, yeah, I'm not
the code is, honest to God, terrible. When you look at like a game like Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, like, they knew what to do with coding a Game Boy game.
The game was also coded almost, like, over 5 years later. Oh, well, yeah, that was so that was Bamboo. He got Death'll Skip actually, so that was pretty slick. Nonsense with
GG to Bamboo.
Yeah.
So he finishes with an SRL time of 1:22.28, which is very good.
Yeah. Oh, GT unfortunately didn't get himself that blob quick kill. Now let's see how GT's luck treats him with dealing with Aghanim here.
How many blue balls did Bamboo get?
1.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, unfortunately GT couldn't close that gap on Bamboo at the end there. Even with the help from Rooster Skip.
Alright, 1 blue ball for GT, 2 blue balls for GT. And Aghanim's just staying put. There we go. Just 1 more hit.
And I imagine Bamboo will probably join us to chat about his run.
He usually does. And again, I'm not sure. I'm not very good at time zone differences. Alright, now just, there we go. 1 shot of boomerang to the eye. Death'll is done like dinner. There he is. GG, Bamboo.
Good evening, thanks.
So, Bamboo, I have to ask, how do you feel about that run? Seems like it was a bit of a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, like I was really pissed after Villa skip. I'm so used to have like the one buffer Villa skip, so it's really annoying to really annoying to get like a, I don't know, I was like second try 8th buffer or something like that.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. And then quite a bit of time on Rooster skip.
Oh yeah, Rooster skip was kind of annoying. You know, I was like, you know, since I haven't been practicing that much lately, I was like, oh yeah, let's get it down, blah blah blah. You know, usually I'm just like, you know, taking my mind off things and just doing it, and it's like easy happening. But this time I was like, oh man, you really got to focus now, and then this happens.
Well, you know, it's not right to take, you know, to enjoy others' suffering, but I've definitely done what you did when you did that one long jump and then just walked right into the pit. I've done that so many times that I just stopped going that way.
It really, like, this must have been like the first time again that's happening to me. Like, I'm talking about races, runs, attempts, and even practice. That must have been like over a year since that happened.
Well, it's one of those things where you get down to muscle memory, you don't even think about falling there, and then, yeah, just a little bit of rust and it happens.
Yeah, that's what's the problem. You know, I was too focused. I was like too stiff. You know, like it was too. You know,
just like even one of those things where you knew you were rusty and you were focusing too much on it, and you didn't kind of let muscle memory take over.
Yeah, kind of that. You know, like this is just like trying too much to force it. You know, and you gotta be cool. You gotta be casual with the Rooster skip and stuff, and then it's working out.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, this run was 2 minutes away from your PB, so you might not consider it a good run, but was there anything you did like about the run? I mean, obviously, it was good enough to win. And I think a 122 is very good for a race time, you know, of all things.
Oh yeah, like I'm surprised how the guys like constantly drop sub 121s and stuff. I was like really happy about the early game RNG. Again, the really good rupee RNG. I had a 141 shop, so that's a pretty good start right off the bat.
Yeah.
And, you know, like ups and downs. But, you know, comparing it to my last race versus, I guess it was versus Allus the second time there. Not that many movement mistakes, you know, and this is like kind of the things that like tore me up all the time. If I'm like constantly doing small mistakes like bunking and, you know, just like not optimal movement, this is like really kind of pissing me off when I'm doing runs and I'm feeling like I'm really rusty. But it wasn't that way today, you know. I was just like, no, actually enjoying to run this game again, and I'm happy it turned out to be like a time that was enough to win this race, so that's good for me.
Yeah, well, it's always nice to come back to it and enjoy it again. Because I know you've been burnt out for a little bit, and it's hard to kind of force yourself to practice something you're not enjoying. So, I mean, you had a really good race, and yeah, it's good to hear that you're enjoying it again.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna practice it again. You know, I'm just like speedrun wise focused on other stuff. But it's good to see that, like, you know, I've been not playing that much 100% on stream. But I've been practicing a bunch offline, so I'm glad to see that there's still lots of that practice, you know, still in my fingers and whatnot, to like still make sort of good runs happening. And aside from that, red tunic only tunic.
Well, wasn't sure if it was stubbornness or if you just hadn't learned the blue strats or whatever, but yeah.
It was actually pathetic. In my last race, I tried to like you know, YOLO strats and pick the blue tunic, and I didn't actually know how to answer the ferry to get the blue tunic. It was really pathetic.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Which option is it that gives you the blue tunic?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you know, so you having defeated GreenTunic, unfortunately, GreenTunic's not going to join us for an interview today. He's going to be knocked out of the tournament. You, on the other hand, get to continue on in the loser's bracket, and you're going to face Node sometime next week.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's going to be interesting because I think, Node is a very good runner, but the thing is, so are you. So I think if you were willing to put a little more extra practice in, I think it could be a really tight match.
Yeah. But I'm like off
I was gonna say,
all.
you guys are very close, like in your prime.
Oh yeah, he just bopped me today, like PB wise.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Like really
like I
close
don't know
too.
by a bunch of seconds, I guess. So talking PB wise, I guess this might become an exciting race, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna practice. If I'm gonna practice it, then like partially stuff like the early magnifying lens and stuff. Trying to optimize that a bit. But
Yeah, that's
anything
part
can
of it.
happen still. I guess anything can happen. So
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it.
yeah, me as well. I mean, I'm not too optimistic. I'm just like I'm going all in for that one, and if it happens, then it happens, and then I'm down for it. But I said if I have to face Aulus a third time, then I'm definitely gonna practice. I can't take it to lose a third time against Aulus. I can't take that, man. This is like beyond my honor and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I hope we get to see that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I'm starting to get the feeling that we're all sort of at the point that we've had our fun with the tournament, and however it ends, we're kind of happy with how we did.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just glad that 100% got so much attention lately, and also, of course, with the tournament and like the whole community jumping on the Hundo train, so to speak, and therefore, like, lots of minds focused on the route and optimizing and stuff, and like major changes happened in this category in this game the last few months, and I'm really happy about it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it was definitely a good decision to switch the categories up this year. Brought a lot of attention to a underappreciated category. But yeah, so that does it for today's double header of races, and that does it for this week, in fact. So we will have a couple more races coming up. So we should have 3 more races scheduled for this coming week. So if you guys are interested in catching some more LADX, make sure to follow our schedule link here in chat, and yeah, just keep an eye on that. It doesn't take us usually too long to schedule these, so hope to see you guys next time. And I was Spearster, joined here by Crunchy.
That's me.
And see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching, folks.
Bye bye.